Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coach Unblocked, part of the Unblocked Podcast Network. I'm Coach Fred Riley, and I want to welcome to your show our special guest tonight from Three Circle Church Midtown is Micah Gaston, and we're going to talk with him about ForMidtown, a nonprofit that he has started that I've been added to the board on in just in the past few weeks, and looking forward to hearing about that. Before we get going, their show is sponsored by not my book, but the people who published my book, Back Porch Publishing here in Fairhope, Alabama. Bo don't know me. We appreciate them and all they've done for me and my family. Please buy a copy of the book. It helps feed all my grandkids. We've got Micah. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you, Coach. Thanks for having me.
You know, now we're of course football, faith, family is sort of the core of my show. But do mostly coaches, but we certainly do people who love sports, and
Sure.
And I know you're a sports enthusiast. So
Absolutely.
Tell us where that came from, and also why you are at the end of the day an Alabama fan.
Absolutely. So Roll Tide, we got a bowl game coming up, so pretty excited about that. A chance in the playoff. Sports were an integral part of my life growing up. My granddad coached my dad playing baseball growing up. My dad also played some football. Earned a scholarship on baseball in college, but played football as well. Both my brothers caught in baseball. And I was the only oddball that was like a shortstop, second baseman. I was the only one that didn't inherit the catcher gene, I guess. My dad. Not in the church. Brothers and I.
Hey, my Wi-Fi went nuts there for a minute. Just
no problem.
Shut me down. So
yeah.
So right along in there, you were talking about being a catcher, and
Sure.
you not being a catcher.
That's right. So yeah, I was the oddball of the three boys in my family that wasn't a catcher, so playing shortstop, second base, but all my growing up life there was sports were involved. I remember memories growing up whenever my dad, Parsonage, who was a pastor there behind the church, we had Sunday morning and Sunday night church. He'd be in his suit, getting ready to go to church out there playing us three boys in basketball and still beating us in dress shoes and a suit, mind you. And now I coach my son, in sports. And I know you and I have had conversations about, sports provides an opportunity not only for competition, which all of us, want to learn how to excel at something, but it provides an avenue for character development and for people to understand what it means to be part of a team and think outside of just yourself. And so whether it was baseball growing up, I played some soccer, played some tennis, played basketball and some little sports leagues there, different churches we were at. In fact, my claim to fame was I was the backup point guard at like the state champions at a church in Tennessee. So I played very few minutes, but still got to be part of the title in like the little Christian basketball league. So sports have been a big part of my life, man. And I've learned a lot through it. And I really enjoy, of course, the competitive element, but sports are have always been a big part of our family.
Me and your dad visited one time about as I was a catcher and
Okay.
in high school and college, and we visited and talked about that a little bit. And and I think you're born to be a catcher or you're not. I mean, I just think that's not everybody wants to throw that gear on in June, July, and August and
Sure.
catch double headers and get your fingers jammed and breaking pitches into the midsection. And
That's right.
Foul
It's
tips
not for the
off the
faint of
face
heart, man.
mask.
It's not.
You gotta love doing that, being a part of it. It ain't for everybody.
And you got to not be bat blind like I was too. Like if you blink every time that somebody
Right.
swings the
Oh
bat,
yeah.
catching is not for you.
No, that's not. You don't need to be doing that. And
No,
both of my one of my boys ended up being an outfielder, and the other one was a middle infielder. They both attempted catching early and decided that, nah, I don't think I want to do that.
yeah,
So
that's where I.
I do understand that. So Alabama fan, what started you down that path?
So yet again, I think, of course, my granddad coaching my dad in baseball, eventually my dad becoming a baseball player and coaching us. I remember my granddad, sitting there watching, Alabama football on Saturdays, and that was a big part of, he was always an Alabama fan. And so, that was kind of part of what we would do on Saturdays. A lot of times we'd hang out there on the weekends, my brother and I, and we would, spend time. We'd go out there. My great uncle had a barn out there, and we'd go out there and have picnics out there. We swim in the creek when it's summertime. We ride horses and all. But Saturdays we'd watch football, right? Alabama football, whoever they're playing. And so I don't remember a time that I've cheered for anybody else other than Alabama. So it's kind of always been a family tradition, I guess.
And I understand that. I mean, we in my family, we were Alabama fans my whole life until I GA'd at Auburn.
Sure,
And
that
became
kind
an
of
Auburn
changes things,
fan
doesn't it?
from doing that, and it did change my life. And
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, sitting if it wasn't on TV, it was listening to it on the big console stereo, and it was you never missed the Bear Bryant show on Sunday, and
Sure.
Golden Flake and Coke, and and that was just part of your life. I mean, whatever was going on, the world, nothing else existed in that 3 hours of football or that 30-minute show with Coach Bryant and Charlie Thornton, and that's what you did. And
Sure.
and I know from my family's perspective, it was put and Coach Bryant said this, and Coach Dye said this, that there were so many working class people that did not go to Alabama, but coal miners, steel workers, poor people were Alabama fans. They grew up rooting for Alabama because in some ways it was the one thing in this state that they could hang their hat on that was successful.
Sure.
And it gave them a sense of pride that no matter what, I mean, you get a coal miner's kid find a way to get an Alabama sweater for him for Christmas. I mean, that is a big deal. And so I know I came from that kind of life, and
Sure.
and we're surrounded by Alabama fans, and because that's just they were winning. I guess if Auburn had been winning through all those times, maybe there might have been more Auburn fans during that
Yeah.
stretch. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe so.
You got to hang your hat on something. But
That's right.
now let's talk about ForMidtown. And again, you're right there in the center of it, Three Circle Midtown, Sage and Imogene. I was there for a number of years, and our tithe money still goes there. I mean, that's still our home church, even though we live in Fairhope now. And we have a lot of common heartbeat for a lot of things. And ForMidtown, I think it seems to have been a growth from once you got immersed into the neighborhood and into the culture. It sort of has taken a life of its own. Tell us about ForMidtown, where it started, and where it's headed.
Sure. Well, I guess really the dream or the vision, started, really just a few months after God called my family and I to Midtown, just beginning to look around the block. When we first came to Three Circle Church Midtown, based upon the 2010 census data, the average median income in the 2-mile radius there, all of Sage and Imogene in those areas, was $19,500. And so you're well under the national poverty line. You got moms and grandmothers, matriarchal homes are the norm for a lot of families in the community. And so you're looking at, you're not just looking at how do we make immediate impact, like you're asking, how do we make generational impact? Like, how do we change the trajectory of this community? And, we're always going to do what the church is called to do, right? We're going to share the good news of Jesus. We're going to help families that are in need. but also, asking, well, what's next? What's over the horizon from that? If we're really going to not only, meet the family's needs that need to be able to feed their families, but also, provide better jobs in the communities and provide, not only material solutions that are immediate, but how do we prepare young people to face the next generation so that they can make better decisions and chart a course towards hope, which is, a big part of what we do. And so really it was about generational change on the block, to really be able to empower families and stand with them, to know that we're not people solutions. We know ultimately the good news of Jesus is a starting point for people. But we want to equip them. We want to stand with them, to be advocates with them. And that means really what ForMidtown is all about is standing with the community to help provide opportunities for material, spiritual, and economic renewal. And so, and we had a lot of partners, and we've hopped on planes and done learning labs with great organizations like Abide Omaha, where they have 85 homes where they go in and flip a home based upon the murder map in inner city Omaha, and plant persons of hope there to begin to build relationships and help change the community. And they've seen those communities grow and change and improve, over 35 years. We hopped on a plane to California and looked at the Hope Center there in LA and the amazing things they're doing. We did some learning labs with other organizations, just trying to see, what are organizations that are renewing communities. We went to Little Rock and looked at a great organization there and what they're doing there in inner city Little Rock, and we work with my friend Pastor Tommy in Tampa. And so we work with about 4 or 5 organizations that have the same heart as us, that is to share the good news of Jesus and also be advocates for sustainable change in communities. Like, how do we do that? And we wanted to partner with people that weren't just, it wasn't just an aspiration for them, or it wasn't like an intellectual exercise. Like, they were doing it. Like they were in the work and had been in the work and had seen, I hate to use the word success, but it began to see their communities begin to turn the corner in some ways.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's been the process we've been on now for about 4.5 years. And ForMidtown just launched a little over a year ago. So we've been doing a lot of planning and praying and preparing for asking, what does this look like in Midtown?
Right. And this is, and I think you would agree, this is not for everybody.
No.
I mean, you mean, you can't just stick your toe into the water and test it. I mean, you have to have a true heart for this, and a lot of there's going to have to be a lot of 3-yard gains and a lot of first downs before you ever see touchdowns.
Oh, sure.
So to speak. And the and especially from when you're talking about generational blessings, I mean, that's the whole thing, is to be able to be somewhere long enough to actually see that down the road, and to be involved long enough to see that kind of thing happen. I know from 42 years of coaching, so some of the great blessings that I get are players that I coached 30 years ago. Just send me a picture of them and their wife and kids.
That's beautiful.
I mean, or just that kind of stuff that we had our 2005 team at Davidson honored this past year, and and I have a player come up on the field and hug my neck and apologize for what a jerk he was when he was in high school. Wow. And apologize for how he acted and how he said, he said, I fought you tooth and nail. He said, and you cared for me, you loved me, you wanted what was best for me, and I fought you every step of the way. But I want you to know it stuck. It stuck. And here's what I'm doing, and I'm married, and I've got children, and I've got a job, and and so many of those kids were first ones to go to college, first ones to leave the neighborhood, mostly fatherless kids, fatherless males, and I think the thing that I'm sure, haven't you found that it, as you said, matriarchal neighborhood area, that, I mean, even with that a lot of them don't see real men until they get to middle school, because their teachers are women.
Yeah.
They're and again, women are. I mean, we wouldn't make it without them. We would be able to run our school systems without them. Because so few men step up, and few men want to teach at that age. So they've been raised by mama, raised by grandmama, and they learn how to play the game too. The kids do.
Sure.
They learn how to push the buttons. And then they get to high school or middle school, and all heck breaks loose because men are inserted into their lives, or men are inserted in their lives as coaches. Well, that seems to be this, and that's where they really start getting drawn to them. Other than park ball,
Sure.
park ball. I mean, there's so many of them. Their park ball coaches have as strong an influence on their lives as anybody, and and I know you've got some, basketball teams and things like that going on within ForMidtown. How is all that part of it, and how is that working?
Sure. Well, part of what ForMidtown, how it's functioning now, we have a lot of vision what we want to do, flipping homes in the communities. We're part of our long-term commitment to doing some what we see in Abide Omaha, to get on the ground and form relationships and recognize that we can't only be attraction when have people come on campus, programming and things we do. But we have our active program now called Midway, which is a youth mentorship program. So currently we're in conversation with 2 schools at the beginning of the year. We're slated to start one where we'll go in and do some programming there as allowed within their curriculum, to not interfere with how guidelines are, get them on campus. We have an open door to have much more of a gospel impact in their lives. But to be able to coach them and mentor them. But also we do have a basketball program. In fact, the first year we launched our basketball program, we had 23 kids that got plugged in. And a lot of these kids, maybe didn't make a local high school team, or we got to have a middle school team. But that, and a lot of them, it's a challenge to get their parents involved. And so we've even changed some of that this year. Like the first year was kind of our opportunity to kind of begin to see how it was going to work out. And we had a big banquet and celebrated them and gave out awards, and we didn't have any parents show up. And so even this year, our youth director, that Justin Walker, who's over that, who played Division I ball at South, said we're changing it up this year because we're gonna make parents be involved and say we want to love your kids, encourage your kids, but this is what you're gonna have to do because we want them to have some buy-in. And even the leaders we selected, like Coach, we were working with organizations. Christian staffing organizations out of Tampa, and we vetted 138 resumes, and finally God gave us the guy we needed right here in our backyard, and Justin. But Justin, we value or we choose our leaders based upon their integrity, their leadership, and then them being people that embody what we're all about. And so, of course, Justin is married, has a beautiful wife, and three young boys he's raising, and he is doing an amazing job showing those men what manhood looks like. Justin, unfortunately, has a story where his dad was not on the scene, and so unfortunately, he's having to react to what he wants to do that wasn't done for him. But that's so much where his heart is, that he could step in the gap for those young men and say, this is what manhood looks like. This is what, he was sharing with me the other day, some of the kids that are coming in part of the basketball program are saying things like, I don't have any anticipation of living beyond 21.
Right.
And part of it's because in environments they're around and activities they're involved in. And Midway, the whole idea is that we're meeting kids midway, but it's all about charting a course for hope. And so, Justin was able to look them in the eye and say, that may be your expectation, but that doesn't have to be your reality. You can choose, you can make some different choices.
Right.
And just because, like you said, Coach, leading and having generational first in families, to say, just because that's been the norm for your family up to now or your friends, it doesn't have to be your story.
Right.
There are
exactly. And we would always tell them, and look, and kids love stories. They love storytelling. So I would tell them the story of my father, and my father, whose father died when he was 6 years old, and he was given away. and because they couldn't afford him, and he sort of lived from house to house to house as a child, and would show up at school and elementary school dirty, and they would buy teachers washed his clothes for him and bought him clothes, and he would wear the dirty clothes home, because if he wore clean clothes home or new clothes home, somebody would steal them from him. I mean, just that kind of stuff, and that because he decided that it was going to end with him, that he was going to be the one that after he passed, me and you would sit and talk about what he did. Yeah. And how he changed generations and made sure that he and my mama changed the world, so me and my brother could have success and would have a chance. And then now I've got 5 kids, all college grads, and they lead a life that my grandfather would have never dreamed about. But somebody has to be that one. That somebody's got to be, that one that you look back at and say it started with him, and it went this way, starting with him, and so much of that, is being, selfish in terms of long-term goals, but unselfish in terms of how you live your life at this point in time. That you know what, you're not going to be a football player. You're not going to be a rap star. You're not going to, you're going to have to, make some sacrifices and adjust some things and give up some things in order for long-term goals, because you want to see your children do better, and folks and your lineage change, and so we would always tell our players, every group that ever came through heard that story, and be very bold, very honest with them about, you're probably not going to play college football. You're not. You're probably not going to be famous. But that don't mean you can't be a difference maker. Sure. And how are we going to be a difference maker? Go to class, make good grades. Who do you hang out with? Go to bed. I understand that you're hungry. Get to school on time. Learn just basic fundamental things of how to be successful. Yes, sir, and no, sir. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Just how to shake a hand, how to look somebody in the eye and talk to them. Basic skills. I mean, how to you may talk slang with your buddies, but but when you're talking to somebody about being a potential employer, how to carry yourself. You can't, and how to have a plan for that. And it is it is you're gonna lose more than you win. I mean, that's the tough thing about being in something like this, and that. I mean, you're going to lose more than you win, but boy, the wins are sweet now. I mean, you don't forget the ones that you lose, and you did everything you could, and you're at their funeral, and giving their mama their football jersey, because of the bad decisions that they made, but you gotta have, like you gotta have a heart for it, and you gotta have some toughness too. Now, I mean, it's you're gonna meet people where they are, and where they are is, pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about a lot of times within our staff, of course, at our campus, and then we're doing with a nonprofit that the ministry we're doing is gritty and beautiful.
There you go. I like it.
It's the idea of kind of like gardening. You're preparing for what's coming, and you get in the dirt and you prepare, and and it's all the messiness to later what's coming, right? And so and to know that the crop you're hoping for, you got to prepare for it ahead of time. And so but it is messy, and sometimes you have days you have to sit down and think about the wins, right? Because you may have taken a couple consecutive losses, and you have to remember, well, here's one of the success stories, right? Because it's a challenging thing, and that's part of why we call it midway. Even in the title, although we're saying charting a course towards hope, and that hope is here, is that idea of meeting kids midway. That at this point in their lives, they are making decisions that we can't make for them. And unless a person is willing to face, gets to the point where the pain of change is lesser to them than the pain of staying the same, right? To keep doing what I've been doing. And until a person gets to that point where they're ready, like you said, to own those things, to begin to say, I'm not going to continue to do what I have been doing because I want to be that one, and that's tough to watch whenever you see, there's a lot of opportunity, but somebody has to be willing to start to take those steps.
No question. And go back to what you talked about the, getting parents involved. I mean, I can't tell you how many senior nights that we had coaches' wives walk with kids because nobody showed up.
Wow.
And how that just, they and how embarrassed they are.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have them fill out paperwork, who's going to be there for that night. And they come in and turn the paperwork in and nobody's coming, coach, it's not on you. I mean, they're missing a special night. They'll regret this forever. And but we'll take care of you. We'll have somebody there for you. And
sure.
and that, I mean, there's just so many of those things that are going to happen that you've already dealt with, and you can hold them hostage every way you want to, but there's always some excuse, some reason, something, and you just have to sort of hook or crook, find a way, and be quick on your feet, and not get, and be able to be allow things to be fluid and not lose your mind when they become more fluid than what you would like for them to be. That's just crap happens.
It does, man.
And it's just you just gotta be light on your feet and figure it out, and remember why you're doing what you're doing.
That's right.
At the end of the day, why at the end of the day, these kids are going to have a better chance of finding Jesus than any of their peers through this. They're going to have a better chance of becoming Christians, finding a Christian girlfriend who becomes a Christian wife, who all of a sudden they can make those decisions because they're living for something different now. And without that, it's a a crapshoot anyhow. So
that's right.
So what you got coming up? What's going on? With the what are the next 6 months? What do they look like for ForMidtown?
Sure. So we do a thing that's a partnership we partner with the city, with the Parks and Rec Department, with the City of Mobile. We partner with YVP, so Youth Violence Prevention, with the city. We partner with other churches in the area, because the way we see it, we're not in competition, we're in cooperation. Every church is going to reach different kids, and we just want to be a place for kids, right? So for them to be able to know that we love them, we care for them, and we want to see them experience a bright future and hope in Jesus, and just success in general as well. And so we do a thing every first Wednesday called Elevate Wednesday. It's at our campus at 150 South Sage Avenue. And so things kick off with an open gym at 4:30. We usually have gaming trucks and games going on for kids that are not ball players, an open gym with our gym. Sometimes, depending upon if it's like like Parks and Rec, they come and do a hump day Wednesday. Sometimes we'll have they bring a Latin dance instructor that has a room over there. We have arts and crafts stuff. So it really is just a kind of come one, come all for kids to come hang out. I have a restaurant background, and so I get in there with our team in the kitchen, and we do an Elevate meal. And so last time it was homemade Alfredo and penne and roasted chicken and Caesar salad and homemade garlic bread and all that. So we feed the kids really well, and feed them a really good meal. I think time before that it was bacon barbecue cheeseburgers, and so a nice meal with a fun environment. And then we just have a lot of guest worship artists, Christian rap artists come in and give them an encouraging word for the night. And so that happens every first Wednesday. This one's going to be on the road, and so we're actually going to go over to Drew Brees has his new Surge Center over there. This amazing, has all kinds of it. And so that we're going to have it there. It'll be on the road. And so that's going to be coming up this coming first Wednesday. So you can go online, sign up, or come visit us at any Wednesday night at 4:30 there at 150 South Sage Avenue. And we've got things going on between our youth group and also ForMidtown. So it happens every first Wednesday. Then also, of course, Cafe 150, which is something we, just for sake of time, we had a whole bunch of time to hop into today. But, every Wednesday we feed the community a lunch meal. And so the whole idea is a place for anybody in the Midtown community to have a seat at the table. And so it's a little different than a soup kitchen, although it's going to be a quality meal for families. But we also provide them an opportunity to give, and so they can help clean them up after their meals. Sometimes we have community service projects. It's allowing families to give as they receive. And so even if they say, Pastor, I don't have a dime to give, well, you can clean your table up afterwards. You can take part in this community service project because you can add value. You don't have to have a bunch of money in your pocket to come share a good meal. We also offer, showers for people that may be displaced and opportunities for appointments in our clothes closet. And then every other week, we partner with another nonprofit on our campus called the 128 Project, where families come to eat lunch from 11 to 1 there at our campus at 150 South Sage. They also can go and get groceries to any of those as well.
Fantastic.
So we have those things going on as far as our regular programming for Midtown going on all the time, and people can go on and check out more as far as what we have coming up in the future. They can go to ForMidtown.com. And you'll see a lot there of things we have going on, ways we're serving the community, even ways you can get involved. Maybe you say, well, I'd love to contribute that financially. You can go online and give to that. Maybe you say, well, I have some free time on Wednesdays, or I'm interested in helping Justin as he gets into schools and helps provide some of those things you're talking about, Coach, is exactly what we're doing through Midway. We're going in schools and providing hard and soft skills, financial coaching, leadership development, relationship coaching, giving kids tangible tools that they're not in the school curriculum, but those kids are going to need them. They're going to need them to succeed in life. And so, if you feel like, well, I could volunteer in one of those ways to help serve food, or I could help be a youth mentor, then there's lots of ways you can get involved, whether, you give financially or give your time. There's always, ways you can get involved, and just go to our website and you'll find opportunities there to get involved in either one of those ways.
Fantastic. And I tell you, I really think people that don't understand, that have not been in that type of environment or that type of school setting, don't really grasp that most of these kids are hungry.
Yeah.
And we went through in our 14 years at Davidson, we realized, you're almost everybody's on free and reduced meals.
Yeah.
But but to take this time breakdown, you school at Davidson would start at 7:18. So they would get there at 7 o'clock, they would eat that very minimal amount of food. And some of them didn't have lunch until 12:30 because of the number of lunch waves.
Sure.
Now they've gone over 5 hours with nothing to eat. And we started finding that their second block classes were the ones they were failing because they were getting hungry. And those are the ones they were getting the most trouble in because they were just getting agitated. Blood sugar's changing and all that. So, one of the things that we did was we set up a peanut butter, jelly, and white bread closet. The administration let us do it, and we let the teachers know what we were doing. And we did it only for athletes at the time because that fell under my jurisdiction. But, any athlete, if they said, ma'am, can I go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the teachers would let them go. And they'd go down there, make them a sandwich, take it right back, eat it in class, just something to sustain them for a while. Then, then the cafeteria workers got involved with it, and any chocolate milk that they had left at the end of the week, that stuff would just get thrown out. Well, no, don't throw it out. Give it to us. And we got a refrigerator put in the building, and we started storing chocolate milk. And at least every day after workouts or after practice, we could at least send them home with something.
Absolutely.
Because you have you don't know. Most of them are eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dews. And from the local 7-Eleven. so the feeding them and finding a way to impact them, that way, because if you're hungry, I mean, they can sort of see your lips moving, but they ain't hearing nothing you're saying.
Sure.
You don't respond very well when you're starving to death. So
Absolutely.
feeding them, God bless you. That's good stuff, and I look forward to seeing what we do, in the schools, and because I think the schools are critical. The
Sure.
schools are critical. And I saw the other day where the Mobile County Public Schools that are number one right now in the state in unexcused absences.
Wow.
That this, number one. I mean, worse than the Birmingham City schools, worse than anybody else right now. And the kids just don't show up, don't come, and trying to, again, you don't go because you're not connected. You don't have any reason to go. I mean, you're not part of a sports team. You're not part of the band. You're not part of the choir. You're not connected where somebody's going to, we would beg our teachers, for instance, if one of our players are absent, please email me and let me know they are absent so I can track them down and tell you what, and they would, all you had to do was ask them, and then burn it. I tell you what, I ain't had this much trouble with my Wi-Fi, but I think the devil's mad at us. I'm telling you what, don't give him too much credit. But
Right.
even at that, with when you get into the schools, maybe maybe you could get the teachers, if you got somebody missing,
Yeah.
connect with Justin, connect with somebody, email them, say, hey, little so-and-so is missing today. Can you help follow up on him? And see what's going on with them. I mean, just the way, if they miss and nobody follows up on them, what do I need to go for? They don't care. They don't care that I'm not there. So it's but we can chase all those rabbits forever.
Sure.
And
But those are all part of a successful approach, right? You got to figure out how can you get kids connected, figure out how to, like you said, not only to feed those literally those tangible needs, right? But be able to connect them to, here's what it means that you are cared for. Here's what it means to connect, and here's why your life can be different, right? And so all those things they're all part of, how do you think through how do we get involved in young people's lives and get them from where they are to where they can be, and that's what it's all about, right? Those stories of being able to say, like you said, we're not there yet. Hopefully we can look back like you're our coach now, 10, 20 years from now and have those stories of saying, here's a story of a young man that was really struggling, making a lot of bad decisions. Maybe he's out on the corner, selling drugs or something now, making a lot of bad decisions.
Well, maybe 25 years from now, he's the pastor at Midtown.
Who knows? That'd be awesome.
You don't know. I mean, what's being done there is awesome, and I know that, and I want to make sure that everybody that I'm connected with knows that, and can find a way to get involved in some way, shape, or form. But yet again, as we talked about, you have to have a heart for it, and it has to be something that you just, that nagging something that you just can't turn loose of. And there are a lot of easier things to get involved in than this, and but it makes it all the more worthwhile and all the more special on the back end. So
well, generational change never happens overnight. But our heart, our vision, and while we're in the middle of all this, like you said, is to look up 10, 20 years from now and see that community that surrounds our church, surrounds that campus, to where we have all these families that are in a different place. where the community as a whole has gotten better. And if we can be a part of that, then it's all worth it.
No question. Amen, brother. Hey, appreciate you coming on. Thanks a bunch. We'll we'll see you soon. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Give my namesake a hug. I know you didn't name Riley after me, but it's just
hey, we'll do it.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate you. Okay.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks. All right. Merry Christmas. Bye.